Thank you, Dr. Makary. I'll start with questions. In 2021, a few months after President Biden took office, FDA announced it would no longer enforce the in-person dispensing requirement for Mifepristone, the drug which obviously is an abortifacient. Now, this is concerning to me. There is a case out of Louisiana which is incredibly egregious, in which there was no recognition that the person requesting the drug was not the patient, but rather someone who was going to allegedly coerce the person into taking the medication, which would have been evident to a physician should she or he have seen the patient. So if confirmed, would you reinstate the in-person dispensing requirement as well as reporting requirements for adverse events and other complications associated with the drug?
Thank you, Senator. And to hear of someone being coerced to take Mifepristone is deeply disturbing, and I might even suggest criminal. I have no preconceived plans on Mifepristone policy except to take a solid, hard look at the data and to meet with the professional career scientists who have reviewed the data at the FDA and to build an expert coalition to review the ongoing data, which is required to be collected as a part of the REMS program, the Risk Evaluation and Mitigation Strategy. It is pursuant to the REMS, and so if we're going to collect data, I believe we should look at it.
Last week, the FDA announced it would cancel its annual Vaccines and Related Biologic Products Advisory Committee, which meets to select anticipated virus strains for next year's flu vaccines. Now, I'm told by people who are familiar that the FDA will make the recommendation and that they will come up with the right decision. But they also say what is lost is the transparency, because the open meeting allows a post-mortem, if you will, as we say in medicine, a review of last year, what went right, what went wrong, and how to make it better. I think one of the laudable things about Secretary Kennedy's positions is he wants more transparency in terms of how the federal government makes medical decisions as part of restoring that faith. And so, frankly, this seems to kind of go backwards on that. So how will you ensure that advisory committees remain objective, transparent, and still benefiting from the necessary expertise of external experts?
Senator, thank you for the question, and I was not involved in that decision. Certainly, we've confirmed once in office, you have my commitment to take a look at it. As you know, that VRPAC committee takes a look at guidance and recommendations from international groups, such as the GIP International Consortium. My understanding is, at least for the last 7 or 8 years that I've been following that group, we have simply rubber-stamped whatever the international GIP group has.
Can I stop you for a second? My understanding, though, since these strains typically begin, like in Australia or China, it isn't so much as a rubber stamp, but as much as recognizing what are you seeing, because that's what's coming to us. So just I think it's more than quibbling to say that you're learning from them. Your thoughts?
Yeah. So the American public deserves confidence that scientists are looking at that data from the Southern Hemisphere. It's all reported into a registry, all the dominant strains, and then picking the most dominant strains that are lighting up in that registry is that process of really trying to estimate which strain is going to be dominant in the United States. It's not very precise. Some years we don't get it very well, but it's the best we can do with the data we have available at the time. So the group, for example, the international GIP group chose to no longer include the influenza B strains a couple years ago. Sounded like a very reasonable decision, and VRPAC also went along with that recommendation. But I think we're aligned in that the American public want to have some confidence that independent scientists are looking at these data.
And going back to the transparency, again, it seems what's lost with the open meeting is the transparency. So how, as you FDA, how can you, as FDA commissioner, advocate for that transparency? Because we want the American people to know, and obviously canceling the meeting will kind of shut that door a little bit.
Yeah. So, Senator, I was not involved in that decision, but I'm happy
I accept
to
that.
review it.
And again, but you're, man, we're voting for you. So how are you going to make it happen? I guess that's my question.
So you have my commitment to review what the committees are doing, how they're being used. As you know, I was critical when that committee was not convened at all during one of the COVID booster guidance decisions by the FDA. And the FDA career and leadership at the time argued that they're advisory and we don't have to convene them. That was repeatedly throughout the Biden administration. And there may be some value if there's a step where the efficiencies can be made, but I think with something that's important, something that's critical, something where we want expert opinion, it not only provides some of that wisdom, but it also increases the perception of confidence from the general public, which
Thank
is
you.
what I
Senator
think.
Murray.
Thank you very much. Thank you for